right, we live. I forgot to turn the light on again. Let me get this light on. Gotta see it, brother. Maybe it's too light. What the heck? It's a little better. Don't do it, puppy. I see you looking at it. Welcome back to another commercial Trucking Chronicles. I'm Swizzy, back with another video. Just trying to get the lights right. Let's see with this light. That's better. How y'all doing? It's Sunday. I'm here, man. I'm here. I'm here. I'm blessed, grateful. You know what I'm saying? Living with the pain, man. Living with the pain. We going through it, all of us. So you know, is it raining now? It was just snowing a minute ago. Yeah, it looked like it's raining. That's probably freezing rain outside. So I would just something just came to my. Oh man, it's stupid. What's up with the light, man? What's on a timer over here, man? The light is on a timer. I don't know what that one. What's up with that one? This light is turn it down a little bit. All right. So, just was watching something. I seen the Black Panthers. This new. I don't know where they come from. They're from Philadelphia, and I'm not knocking nobody. So you know, but I'm just bringing this to you. So you know, in case you haven't heard that. Oh, I appreciate that light. I don't know where that came from, but I appreciate it. There's this Black Panther movement. What's going on? My dog's going crazy. Dog want to be down with the Black Panthers. You're a black dog. You're not a Black Panther. He's a black dog. But so they're over. Good morning. Good morning. Tupator Trana. Good morning to you. Good afternoon, actually. Good afternoon to everybody that's joining me, wherever you're from, whoever you are. Appreciate the likes, appreciate the support. My dog's loving the attention right now. She wants to be a Black Panther. She's just a black dog. She's going hard. She said, I'm joining the black ranks of the Panthers. I put on my black t-shirt or tank top to make her happy. So they're saying that the Black Panthers has taken a position, a stance against the ICE agents, which a lot of people, including myself, I just don't agree because I don't feel like there's a need for that. But there's a thing now, they have what's called a black militia, and if you ever seen them, there's a whole lot of them. Right? And my dog is still acting up. Can you please stop, puppy? Stop. She thinks it's playtime. I don't know how you feel about it, but the way I look at it is, first of all, I don't think that this is what the guy said that Black Panthers has started. Oh, greetings from Russia. Hey, what's up, Russia? What's up, Russia? It said that the Black Panther movement has started a rainbow coalition back in the days, right? Back when they had, you know, I guess in the 60s or, you know, around then, right? It was in the 60s. And that organization was started because we were policing our own communities because of, during the civil rights movements and stuff, a lot of the, brutality and stuff that was being portrayed against, people that were peaceful protesters back then for civil rights, with just, there was a lot of unaliving of people that was happening, going on during that time too, black people at that time, because there was still a lot of racial tension in the country. So, so to protect our people, and also at the same time, while they had also like the Nation of Islam, they were trying to rid the community, of a lot of drugs that were in the communities back then, and to educate some of our, our people that were trying to educate some of our people that was, they were just living that street life. You know what I'm saying? They were not, you know, we did have a lot of very, 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 very intellectual, smart people that, went to very prestigious schools, like, and were inventing a lot of things. So during that time, there was a lot of movements, that were helping the black community, and one of the movements that were started was the Black Panthers, because it was, teaching people to defend themselves. And so it's the Nation of Islam. They were teaching people, the fruit of Islam. They were, the men and women of the fruit of the Nation of Islam and the Black Panther movement. They were all about, uplifting the black community, educating the black community, teaching them to stand up for themselves, teaching them they could become their own resourceful, have their own resources within their own communities. And, along those lines, we were unifying and coming together, and we had strength in our numbers, and we were protecting one another, right? Making sure that our communities were not, having these, they're called the racist pigs, or the police were just beating down black people and taking them off to jail and stuff like that. And, there was drugs going into the communities and stuff. So there was a need for it back then, of course. We needed to have within the community, some, it was like they had, and I was during that time, I was still baby. I was a baby, but there were members of my family that were, involved in some politics and stuff. And I heard a lot of talk about, some of the protests and things that they were in a part of. And so I respected that, man, because, growing up, it give you a sense of pride, whereas, there was a lack of that in the community, because, black and brown people, we were just looked down on and stuff. And so our communities were not funded with, medical, what is it? They didn't fund a lot of the programs like housing development and stuff like that for the urban cities and things. The communities were pretty rough, and if you were one of the luckier ones, or one a little bit more fortunate, and you had a little more money, you moved on the other side of the tracks, and but banks were discriminating against, giving those loans to, people based on demographics and stuff. And and they still do that to this day, man. Don't think your zip code don't tell these people where you from or where you at, because when you put a lot of that on these applications, of course, there's a bias against a certain, people in demographic areas. And so, but we're trying to move past, we pushed past a lot of that. We've come a very long way since then. But these guys right now, what we have going on here in the country, whereas these ICE agents are, they have the responsibility of removing illegals from within the country, and it's very much the same as if you're, you overstay your visa in another country and they have to send somebody to come and get you. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where they don't need to be, on the scene. Well, people are protesting. A lot of people are protesting because these ICE agents, I'm drinking some coffee, and it's made with water. It's actually pretty good. Spring water too, because I have a filter system that I use on my tap. So the people are protesting these agents because they don't like the way that they are, and I don't agree with it. I don't agree with how the ICE agents approach to, this dog is something else, man, I tell you. I really don't agree with the approach to how they handle things. They're kind of more, and they're being called slave catchers. Like, they just are kind of like vigilantes in a sense, masked up, guns, vests, and, things like that. And just, jumping out of cars. I mean, you would think it's a SWAT team or something, like they're a SWAT team. So. And so ever since the Renee Best girl got killed, you heard the computer gave me the do-do-do-do. That's a keyword, watch out. Ever since that happened with the lady by the ICE agents and everything, this whole protesting thing is going to a whole nother level. But I'm gonna say this about these Black Panthers, and so they're showing up and they got some big guns, and there's people talking about, oh man, you should see they got the big guns, and they feel like, well, we're showing up with bigger guns than what ICE agents have. The real discussion here is going to be about the right to defend yourself, the right to bear arms, right? Peaceful protest or not, you come out there and be peacefully protesting and bring your firearm with you. Now it's a standoff, basically, right? So what do you think's gonna happen next? What do you see this turning into? A bigger issue, especially when you go to the polls. Because I'm gonna tell you, there are going to be lobbyists that for these gun rights and things like that, they will get involved. So that's why I feel like the Black Panthers really, should stay, and I just don't know much about that chapter of the Black Panthers or any chapter of the Black Panthers, because I'm not a part of no militia group. I'm not a part of none of these groups. But I sympathize with them, because it might be hard to stand there and watch, law enforcement kind of, use, and they have to use crowd control, especially if they're being assaulted. They have to use crowd control methods, pepper spray, barriers, and they're using rubber bullets and stuff like that. And it could be, and I've been watching this happening too, and I'm saying to myself, is somebody's gonna wind up, it's gonna snowball into much more, right? There was a report where somebody said that they saw bricks or piles of bricks over by where the protests were happening at. And we all know that when there was like the George Floyd and all these other protest that was going on a few years ago, how they turned violent, and then they had the BLM whole movement, and people that were using these organizations to get funding. Another scam. But they had, and everybody's face is covered. That's the other thing, right? So now, and they're talking about insurrection acts and all this. I mean, it's chaos, a lot of turmoil, and now you got more and more groups. I said it, more and more groups are going to get involved. Like, they're really going to escalate this thing to be able to, I'm thinking, well, the sooner they just go ahead and, declare whatever it is they want to declare, then that gives the armed forces or the military or those, officers, sheriffs, deputies, or whoever, they have legal right or authorization to go ahead and use lethal force. Now, we don't want that. Nobody wants that, right? The people that are out here protesting because they don't want ICE to do their job, obviously sending a message saying we'd rather have illegals in the country than have them brought to justice or have them deported so they can go through the process and legally enter the country. The minute, like I said, I don't have my passport with me, but of course, if I go into another country and say and what's happening is U.S. passports are now being denied in other countries, in a lot of countries and things. So, and you hear about a lot of these people saying, well, and this is what's not happening is, what didn't happen was, a lot of the illegal, the immigrants did not obtain, let's just talk about the facts. They did not obtain passports to enter into the United States legally. So that created a problem. That created such a big problem that they had to have these massive, immigration camps, where once they caught people who were sneaking in, they've been doing it forever. They've been digging tunnels. They've been hopping fences. They've been hiding in cargo's trailers and ships and freight containers. They've been doing everything they can to get here, rather than just applying for a passport and legally entering into a country. But that's because the borders are only thing separating them is the border wall. And so, well, this is their land. It should not be. I'm not gonna argue about all of that. It's just that when there are rules, you go to another country, you leave the United States and go into another country, and you go over there and you overstay your visa, you're gonna get fined. Ain't gonna be no Black Panther over there helping you. Because when they come to get you or when they catch you, you ain't gonna have nobody there to fight for you. They're just gonna take you in custody, take you over to wherever they, where they hold the people at. And they're gonna deport you back. Like, it's a simple process, but it's got so far out of control over here that it's chaos now. It is so much chaos. But we're not talking about that. We're just gonna talk about the Black Panthers. How are the Black Panthers involved now? I don't know. I didn't even know. I mean, it's harsh. I mean, looking at some of the videos, yeah. I mean, if I was a part of something like that, like, we have a moral obligation to go and help these people. Look, they done did this to this one. Like, come on, we need to stand up for injustice. And so we're gonna put ourselves on the front line. That's I don't know if all of the Black Panthers are down with it, but the few that's going out there, they're gonna probably wind up being outmanned because everybody, I don't think everybody's just gonna go and I mean, they're probably like, man, no. Because if we take it back to where this whole found thing was founded, never mind the Rainbow Coalition, but not saying never mind the Rainbow Coalition, but we do know that, you know, a lot of that was a, you know, a political stunt. Like I believe personally, you know, a lot of Democrats don't came together, formulated all of that back then, and you know, oh, check your history, bro. You don't know what you're talking about. I do know that there was all kinds of fraud. So I think actually, I remember I saw one time Al Sharpton was on a late night TV show. It's called Morton Downey Jr. back in the days. And Al Sharpton was like one of the voices of the people too back then, right? So there was a reverend of a church or some other, he would call Al Sharpton out. Y'all gotta go and Google that and look at it. And then they got into it. It was supposed to be, they got up there and was gonna be dialogue, much like how the other guy did with the other dude, Anton Daniels and the other Corey Holcomb. They got up there and they, you know, two black men supposed to be coming and sitting down and having a discussion about some of the civil rights movements, because Al Sharpton he's in that, and still is a voice for the black community, right? And I'm wondering if, I don't remember, this was a while ago, right? I don't know if that particular night they were talking about the Tawana Brawley case, when she was supposedly, you know, her case, and Al Sharpton was a you know, a voice for her, for the people back then. And the other guy was calling Al Sharpton out and telling him he's a sellout, you're fake, you're this and that and this, and you know, I think you know, the Rainbow Coalition, all you know, y'all fake back then. And this is back then when, you know, you still had, well, around then the Black Panthers had kind of died down, because you know, a lot of them had been sentenced to a lot of time in jail, you know, and feds came in and took a lot of them out, you know, and so forth and so on. So what this brother today is saying, that this is not the Black Panthers from back then. We got better guns, this and that, and so forth and so on. Okay. And this is why I said that this is going to turn into more of the NRA type of a thing going into the primaries. So these groups that are now, you know, they're getting together. They're seeing that this is an opportunity, because of course, closer we get to those primaries in that election, is going to mean you're going to have to, you know, these parties, these political parties are going to start more and more and more coming out with, with their views and opinions, and they're going to have, you know, they haven't put a candidate out there yet that's backing none of the stuff that's happening, but they are going to start being more and more in the front line, in the mainstream, and getting some, getting in front of the camera. Now, they're not saying what party what political party they are representing. You know, they're not going to be, if they're going up against the ICE or whatever, you know, maybe their political party is left. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't really know. They're not outright, you know, declaring any political party, but they, you know, their movement, or the Black Party, so the Black Panther Party is known for, you know, self-defense. You know, we have a right to defend ourselves. You know, and it's like, I think that back then when they you know, I mean, it's a, I looked at something, and it was just showing they were in court. And I mean, something just didn't look right about the people that were standing up in that courtroom, man. They didn't look like they were part of Black Panthers. You know, anybody could take the name and say, "Hey, we the Black Panthers." Then you got, you know, this guy, that guy, this guy, and that guy. You say, "Man, I don't even." Okay, y'all pick the animal, or is y'all like, are y'all like, how'd you come up with this name? Or, you know, the image that we would think in our minds is like, okay, the Black Panthers is for the Black community, but these people are not from the Black community. They don't look like they're, you know. It just it got me thinking, like, man, you know, what do you guys think about that? That's what I want to know. I want to know what you think about it. You know what I'm saying? I know my dog is behind it and wants to join it, but I'm not. But I'm not even really the type of person that's going to get out and be protesting for nothing anyway, man. I'm just going to watch it all unfold from my television and see, look at these people out here. But, you know, if they say if you don't stand up for something, you'll fall for anything, man. You know, I get that. I understand that, man, you know. But, I mean, you got to choose wisely your battles, man. So if these people are Black Party for self-defense and stuff, you know, and they feel like patrolling the Black community, or for them to stand up for any injustice and stuff like that, you know, I applaud them. But I don't know if they understand, you know, the severity of the amount of illegal people that have entered into this country, and how much fraud and how much money that, you know, has gone to, you know, housing and medical, and how much money has been taken out of the system where there's not tax dollars being paid, because a lot of these people are paid under the table. So that destroys our economy, takes jobs and food out, takes jobs away from men and women like myself, and food out of our kids' mouths and stuff. So, you know, you need to make sure that you understand before you, I feel like you should understand before you do try to get in the way of these people that are trying to remove all these illegals. That's millions of them over here. Like, you gotta understand that, man. How can you be, you know, against something that's trying to right the wrong that these people have committed by coming here illegally? And then, you know, and the numbers that they did, it came with so much. I mean, it was just like, who 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 orchestrated this many people to come into this country through the southern border? And not just that, like, there were people from all over that were coming in. They weren't just from the South region. Like, they were from other countries that made it to the South region and then just came on in with everybody else. So now you got an influx of any and everybody coming in here. So, you know, that's got to be addressed, and it needs to be, you know, that needs to be rectified, man, to be able to get the numbers back. Because look at consensus reports. Like, you don't even really know how many people are really actually, you know, here. You know what I'm saying? Because they're not taking consensus. They're not legal. And I talked about before how they're not able to really tell how many people here, but they are through the remittance, how much money is being sent out the country, you know, back to these other countries. So they're flagging that because, of course, the people will come here and get a job and then want to send money back home. It's like all these people, the Somalians are doing it, you know, anybody, the African people are doing it. You know, you got a lot of the Latinos is from other, you know, from other countries, and Mexican. They're working, making money here and sending it back to their country because their people need it. Like $20 could buy a month worth of groceries back home. Whereas for them to get enough money back home to be able to buy that much groceries, they may not make that. I remember I was on a cruise, and we was in one of them, we was in Mexico somewhere. We got off the ship rather, walked into the town, didn't go far, just there. And then there's people that are standing out there, And they're very talented because they make things with their hands, right? If it's a necklace, a bracelet, whatever the case may be. So the guy says to me, you know, this is all the money I made today. You know, I was just gonna give him a $20 bill just on the strength. I didn't even want what he had. I'm just gonna give him $20. Like, here you go, man. You know what I'm saying? He's standing out here trying to hustle, and I see ain't nobody buying nothing from him. I didn't want it, and they didn't want it either. But I was just gonna throw him a 20. You know, we was having conversation and stuff, and I was just gonna bless him because I know that money goes a long way in this country. He showed me how much money he made that day. He's been out here all day, and he has little coins. That was it. So they out there working. I don't know, man. I mean, I totally get it that people are sending remittance back home. But see, those remittance payments or that money is tracked. And since they have such large amounts of money leaving the country, and this is another thing that's a big deal, anything over a certain amount now, they're starting to flag it. Right? Because they're like, we got to stop this. We got to stop this. We're printing money to try to help the economy, to drive down inflation or do whatever, right? Put money out to stimulate the economy. And where's it going? It's leaving our borders. So they've undermined the whole, somebody has undermined the whole financial system here in America. Now, was it done by design? I don't know, but whoever it was that mastermind and figured, that all of those people that were coming here were funded some kind of way, man. Because along the way, with they making those long journeys and walks, they didn't get them all Ubers. They just set up like tents, food stations, just like you doing a marathon. If you ever ran a marathon, I ran a marathon before, 10 miles. And every so often there was places where you could stop and get water and stuff. That's all by design. These people walked thousands of miles here. And, they had places for them to get rest. So this was all done by design. So now that they're here, it's this administration that's they stuck with the, all right, we need to fix this. We got to do something. Somebody has to do something, right? Or it would just continue to happen. So they got it under control where people are not coming in the way that they were anymore. Now they're trying to get people out. And it's an all-out effort. It may not look like something that you all agree with, but they have to take extreme measures. So I get it. That's why I said I'll sit back home and watch how it unfolds rather than get out there, put myself in harm's way. And I don't care, that's just me talking. Like, you could do what you want to do. If you want to support the protesters, I just ask that you do it peacefully. You know what I'm saying? If you're a paid agitator, I get that too, because somebody's funding all of this stuff, man. And now I'm thinking, the Black Panthers, are you serious? Somebody's funding all of this stuff, right? And now it just take me back to, like I said, when Al Sharpton and that dude was sitting up there back in the days when he was talking about, it was the Morton Downey Jr. show. I remember it was a late night show. Come on, they had Al Sharpton up there, and these two brothers got into it. They was talking about, civil rights movements. There's something going on. It was something where Al Sharpton was always the voice of every, standing up out there and protesting and marching with everybody and getting all the publicity and stuff. So the dude called him out and told him he was fake. You getting funding, you fake, and all this other stuff. What's up, puppy? Yeah, you want to go with the Black Puppy movement, huh? Just the Black Puppy. Get down. Black Puppy movement. I'll just say this, man. It's bigger things on bigger fish frying right now, man. Because these guys are out here with heavy artillery. All those protesters that are standing up and running out there, they ain't come out there and don't, they might be out there, just waving signs and shouting and stuff. But these guys are taking to another level, showing up, talking about we gonna be the security for them. Now it's a standoff. It's a standoff. And you know there's already been shots fired. So going into the primaries, if this thing doesn't blow up in your face, in our face, and we don't see something crazy happen, because these guys, you know, I'm sure they're trained. They know their rights, right? Some of the ICE agents are said to be just, you know, recruiters or recruited, you know, not out of no academy or nothing, just off the street. So what happens with one of them that's all jacked up, feel like, you know, and he got his firearm permit, he got his firearm, and he's on this side, and you on that side, you know, what's gonna happen? Where's this thing all going? So let's just pray that everybody kind of like just tones it down a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But you got the agitators that are agitating the situation. And then I think there's more groups that are coming on the other side of things. But let's not lose sight. Let's not lose sight of the immigration problem that we have here. Let's just focus on that. But if a lot of these people that have their ulterior motives, right, because the primaries are coming, if they can sway the narrative, they're gonna do that. But we need to get the immigration issue under control. And I would say that they, you know, I know a lot of people's gonna went into hiding. A lot of people they you know they're here illegally. They went into hiding. You know, they've been hiding for years. They've been hiding for years, man. You know, I remember I used you know do truck driver, man. I go to certain places and stuff, and the guy that my dispatcher told me, he said, I called him. I said, ain't nobody here. He said, oh, they're there. They're not gonna come out until you leave. I said, oh, okay. It's one of those places. Yeah, yeah. And it's establishment, a business. They all getting paid under the table. I bet you that. They all sending money home. I bet you that. I bet you that. Right? So it's out of control, man. A lot of this is out of control. And if we turn a blind eye to it, man, this country is never gonna get back up and running like it should. It's not, man. It's not. It's just not. Because we've been undermined. You know what I'm saying? Been undermined by some people who don't want to see a lot of people, you know, gainfully employed, you know, I mean, citizens, you know. They're all in cahoots. The banks, politicians, you know, leaders of these groups, they're all getting funded. They're all getting funded. They're getting funded. They're not saving their money to go buy stuff. They're getting funded. It's like if you start a motorcycle club, you can get funded. You know what I'm saying? Once you meet the right criteria and you file, register downtown at the state's office or the Secretary of the State, you can get funded. You know? Oh, we do charitable things and that's in that for the community. Oh, really? Oh, well, yeah, we're gonna fund that. The government will fund anything as long as you got your paperwork in there, right? You know what I'm saying? Sheesh, it's hard. I can go get a loan right now, but I'm not messing with the people, man. I'm all set, man. I already been down that road. No more. I don't want it. I'll work for mine, thank you. So, one person in here so far that I see, it was more people, it's 4 likes. So, but it's all good. For that one person that's watching, man, I'm telling you, I hope your day is just as pleasant as, you know, you would want it to be. And if it's not, you know what? The sun is still shining. You know, just little big clouds in the sky. That's all. I look out there right now. It was raining. Or it was snowing, then it turned to rain. So, you know, seasons change. Maybe just going through a season right now. that's like this country. We going through a season right now. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, at the end of this, when we transition over to when things are back better, we'll be able to look back on it and say, look, man, I know it was a painful time for the nation, for the country, but guess what? You know, we thriving over here. You know what I'm saying? And one thing that, you know, if we put our, you know, if we put energy behind anything that's not of God, like this nation has a foundation and spiritual principles. You know what I'm saying? And so if we see, people don't want to be, they don't want to stand on it. They want to be, they wanted chaos and confusion out here rather than it being, you know, founded on the principles that, you know, the founders of this nation, these were men that were, you know, they were led by God when they wrote a lot of them laws in there, and a lot of that stuff. Even back then, you know, you had people that were not. They didn't want to see some of those laws written in, you know, because they didn't want to acknowledge that, you know, God had His hand in the, you know, in the country from the jump. It's me. I just got home and I tuned it in. Oh, it is you. So you sitting there all this time when said not a single word till now. How long you been tuning in? Oh, in the end you hit the, oh, see, you got the like button. Yeah, okay. Well, I appreciate you. And Puppy does too. Oh, Black Puppy instead of Black Panther. How about that? But, you know, I just don't, you know, I don't feel like I feel like the country that's really, you know, we're going astray as a people over here, man. You know, a lot of us, man, you know, we are lost and we need to find God, man. You know what I'm saying? We need to get back to, we need to get back to putting God first in everything. This country is not going to make it. It's going to self-destruct. There's going to be more and more of these demons that are going to come forth and show their heads, right? In the political realm, you know, in the economic realm, in the school system, right? Out here in the music industries and all of these things, you know, like there's a shift that's happening. You have to recognize and see it for what it is. Even in the music, you know, even in these on these platforms where people are creating all kind of content, man. I look at a lot of summertime, look at a lot of the content that's up here. Down. Gotta be rough with it sometimes. So I look at the content creators. Down, come on. I know I'm gonna take you for a walk, but not right now. You wanna go in that cage? Do you wanna go in the cage? You don't want that, do you? Then sit there. She don't wanna go in that cage. You say cage, her whole attitude change. And see, the dog respects. She respects it. So I know there's a lot of content creators, man, just so much off the hook these days, you know, that's like, they're just really out there, man. And in the music, we already know, like, the music industry, how demonic it had become, you know. So there's a shift from that because a lot of these musicians, you know, like, self-destruct, man. If you're making the type of music, it's only a matter of time for karma to just come back to you, and then, you know, he's out of here. Like, the devil took you right out. You know what I'm saying? Because you're glorifying him in that music, but you don't respect your life, and all he needs he's using you to tear other people alive. Once he uses you up, then he takes you out because he done already got a whole bunch of other people. The internet is sick. See, the internet is a tool. You know what I'm saying? This is the thing. We gotta realize. You know, we've been given. It's like if as we evolve as a race of people, right? People are just losing their minds because, you know, they're amassing a lot of wealth. They are amassing a lot of wealth, and their hearts are becoming, they're selling out for it. And like somebody said, they're selling their soul for money. And this technology and this evolutionary, you know, technical evolution has caused people to, they become demoralized in a sense. Their moral compasses are just lost because it's mind blowing that they go from 0 to 100. A lot of people, right? And so with that, there's that fame and vanity that people, they glorify more so than giving the glory to the creator that gave them those talents. Now, this technology is an example of how talented somebody is. There's a genius out there. There are geniuses out here that created this stuff. But rather than people using it to edify, they're using it to tear down. And so that's the big thing right there. And see, they glorify in the moment the fact that, oh, well, I can just cause this to happen. And, next thing they lose. People looking at them, man, you ain't even the same person you used to be no more ever since you got that, you hit that, your song hit or whatever, and it's sad. It's sad. It's sad, man. It's sad. So the internet, it's a tool that can be used for good, but then you have people that use it for all the wrong reasons, and there's a positive and negative to everything. So we have to be able to understand that, because you look at this stuff and say, well, I could change the life of people, or I could just selfishly use this and only change and benefit my life. I'm gonna change my own life and never mind anybody else. Now I benefit from it and leave everybody to suffer and figure it out on their own. So, but that's not community, and God is about community, and God is love. So that's the thing. So this can reach so many people and change so many lives. And it's just the same, and it's always kind of if you had a typewriter, and you sat there and you were you wrote novels, letter by letter. You would type it, and it would change lives, right? And that's the thing about journalism and having a voice, but then being able to broadcast that voice, or being able to print those, have a book printed, mass produce some books and get them out to the people and stuff. Once those books are, edited, go back. So there's a lot of that stuff that plays into it. And sometimes the editors, they go in and they take out some of the meat and the potatoes because they probably want to, kind of withhold some information. And then there's those editors that are just, don't, this is not edited, man. We're going to give it to you just like this, and there's a lot in there to digest. So, but I still feel the way I feel, despite a lot of what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing, because I'm not intimidated or I'm not swayed, or, the narrative doesn't change for me. I see the hidden, I see the hand. See, when you got the discernment, you can see God's hand at work and you can see the devil's hand at work. You know what I'm saying? In people's lives and out here in society and everything. You can see all of that stuff, man. I sometimes it's a little scary to be able to see, like, oh man, this is getting ready. That ain't good. That's not good. Some people look at it and just they absorb it all in, and it could be a bunch of the negative. They want to hear it. They look like yeah. What can I tell you? I just know that coming up with these, this year's gonna be. We still in January. Watch how fast we come to the primaries. Because there's going to be so much distracting people. There's going to be so many narratives being pushed that the time is going to be like, man, where did time go? You mean tell me we got to decide now on who we want to vote for already? We still processing all the crap. Or you know what I'm saying? It's like still playing in my mind. It wasn't just but a short time ago that, this happened or that happened. It's like we in, you know what I'm saying, we moving at quantum speed out here. Slow down. God gonna slow it down for you. He gonna show you what's going on, man. He gonna slow things down for some of us, man. I mean, hopefully for a lot of us, man, that need to, because everybody's in such a rush these days to kind of hurry up and get to, you know, monetization. They want to monetize your life, and I get it. We gotta shoot for, you know, the moon, or shoot for the sky, or shoot for the stars. They say shoot for the sky, shoot for the sky, shoot for the stars, and just shoot for the universe, man. But everybody want to get way up and out of there, man. Like everybody, it's like we in a race to get to the, who's gonna get to the moon first. Who's gonna get to the, that's what it is. It's always a race, and we only given one life. You should just really be living your best life and trying to, it's not all about competition out here, man. It's about helping one another, because what happens when you always win in first place? It gets kind of boring, right? Some people just, they lose their mind if they don't get first place. Second place is good. Second place is fine. I know I don't want to be in last place. So I'm going to try. I'm going to give it my all. I'm going to try to work out and correct some of the things that, I see that I need to work on. That's going to help me become a better, person. And try to surround myself with some champions, weed out some of the bad. I gotta get to, I'm gonna check out online the service, because I didn't go to church today. I didn't go last week either. I watched it online. I'm gonna do the same thing. It's up there, but I wasn't, I was up a little late last night. I actually didn't get up till about 2 o'clock out the bed, 1:32, about 2. No, it was about 1:30 because I woke up and then I was watching the coffee show that I watch every Sunday. I've been watching for years. Coffee Time. Go check it out with Uncle Buster of Puma and Zerker and Nerdy and them. It's a show that I watch on YouTube. I've been in that community for some years. And I watch it every Sunday because it's a crypto show. It's like-minded people, man. So I surround myself with like-minded people. But we talking about a lot of things that's going on out here that, everything that's going on. So, but I just wanted to come up here and let you guys know that, the Black Panthers, they just injected themselves into the immigration debacle. Because that's what it is. It's an immigration debacle. Yeah. I really do feel for those people that have to, be concerned about their status. I feel for them because they got families. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I don't feel for these people. I feel for them because they got families. I don't want to see families separated and people deported. But you got to know that something like that would happen. Like I'm going to be doing some international traveling this year. If things don't, get too get too crazy, right? And go to another country and something. I was supposed to go over the holidays, but I didn't. I traveled, but it wasn't out the country. So I plan to go do that, right? Still looking at flights. I'm waiting for the prices to come down and not reserve my flight and put my little time in that I'm gonna be going for my job or whatever. And I'm gonna go and experience the culture, the life, and the traveling experience and stuff of 12, 14-hour flights and stuff. But I'm not gonna try and get over there and overstay my time either. You know what I'm saying? The people do that. Even if I get there and find out, oh, I love this place, I don't ever want to leave. You know, and I hear it's kind of tempting to do it. Like you get there and then you got all this money. Like, wow, you know, I'm really able to like keep the majority of the money that I brought with me. I could stay here for a whole nother 8, 9 more months and not run out of money. But when it's time to go, it's time to go. Like my return flight or my time to leave the country, you know, you got a set amount of time that you are legally able to be there as a guest on a guest visa or whatever, unless you get an education visa. So I don't know what things could possibly change about how I may look at that place and decide I want to be a long-term resident or, you know, because I have family that has moved outside the country and relocated to other countries and then, you know, been there for years, then have come back and then they actually travel back and forth. So I guess they have dual citizenship in other countries. But I have not tapped into anything like that yet, as of yet. I'm not saying that that's something that I would not be interested in, but you know, I'm sure if I were to take an interest in another country somewhere, I would want to do it legally so that I don't have to worry about, you know, somebody coming and grabbing me up or and escorting me out. Like that's, first of all, that'd be embarrassing. I would just be embarrassed, totally embarrassed. And then second, it's probably going to become something that would become something that would probably hinder me from visiting back to that country. And if I like wherever it is and I want to be able to revisit there or maybe, you know, take up residency or, you know, go that route, you know, why would I go there and try to go hide in the shadows? Like that don't make sense. But I guess if everybody else is doing it, and a lot of people they doing that, but that don't make it right. That don't make it right. That don't make it right. So I'm not interested in doing nothing like that. But I bet you won't nobody get in the way of them people over there escorting me out. Ain't nobody gonna do it. So where do these guys get the nerve thinking, well, we just gonna get in the middle of, that's the thing I'm saying. Like, I don't understand. Like, you gotta choose your battles wisely, man. If you got an organization, you know, that's all about self-defense, I get that. Some of the protesters, they're agitators. They're paid to go out there and cause a ruckus. You want to defend these guys? They need their behinds, you know, for getting in the way or doing anything that is, you know, interfering with the justice system. Like, you can't take up and defend them. You're just as wrong as they are in my eyes. So that's why I feel the way I feel about it. Because first of all, they should really just let ICE do their job. I mean, that's a slippery slope. But if people would have just go ahead and turn themselves in, because you know that you ain't legally here, you know, I mean, go ahead and there's so many people that are here on that type of a status, though. You know, they're terrified to go back to their countries. And I get it. I understand, man. You know, I would almost be terrified to come back to the U.S. if I went somewhere else. They're talking, I'm sending you back, and all the chaos is going on here. I would be like, no, don't send me back, please. I don't want to go back. A cheeseburger costs too much. Can't afford anything out there. You know, they laying off everybody. They don't care. They don't care. You know, people been at their job for years getting laid off, man. They like, that's it, I'm done. I'm out of here. Where you going? I'm leaving the country. So, anyway, that's all I got. That's all I got, man. That's all I got for you guys. Man, I gotta take this dog out. She is really starting to now become, you know, restless. She's trying to get out the door. She's over by the door. She wants to go out. So I'm gonna take her out. It's raining too. You wanna go out for a walk? Yep, she gave me that look. Oh, now here she come. Oh, okay. I'm gonna take you for a walk. All right. So you guys have a great rest of your Sunday. I may come back up here tonight. Do me a favor, check in with me, and like the video. Subscribe to this channel for more videos. Hit the notification button so that when I go live, you can, you know, come up here and, you know, let me know what you think. You can leave a comment. And also share the video with somebody, man. All right? I'm Swizzy. Appreciate you for joining me. Commercial Truck Chronicles is out of here, and I'll see you on the next video.